Minister of Health Sheikh Dr. Basil Sabah announced today the recovery of more patients from COVID-19, raising the country's total recoveries. The minister said all the treated people have tested negative and they will be moved to a rehabilitation ward for 2 days before being discharged from hospital. Meanwhile, during the cabinet session held Monday night, the Minister of Health and head of a team tasked with following up on COVID-19 developments briefed the ministers about the latest information about the pandemic, including data and statistics included in a report to the World Health Organization. More than 1.88 million people have been reported to be infected by the novel coronavirus globally, and 119,168 have died. Infections have been reported in more than 210 countries and territories since the first cases were identified in China in December of 2019. The death toll from COVID-19 in British hospitals rose to 11,329, and the government signalled that there would be no easing of lockdown measures this week. Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron announced the extending of a virtual lockdown to curb the coronavirus outbreak until May 11th, adding that progress has been made, but the battle not yet won. US deaths from the novel coronavirus topped 23,000 on Tuesday, according to a tally by Johns Hopkins University, as officials said the worst may be over and the outbreak could reach its peak this week. The United States, with the world's third largest population, has recorded more fatalities from COVID-19 than any other country. There was a total of nearly 570,000 US cases as of Monday, with over 1.8 million reported cases globally. Deaths reported on Sunday numbered 1,513, the smallest increase since 1,309 died on April 6th. The largest number of fatalities, over 10,000, was in New York State, with a concentration in and around New York City, the most populous US city with about 8.4 million people. Wyoming were reported as first coronavirus death on Monday, the final US state to report a fatality in the outbreak. Authorities in Moscow have warned that the Russian capital may run out of hospital beds to treat a rising influx of coronavirus patients in the next 2 to 3 weeks, despite frantic efforts to get more beds in place. Moscow, Russia's worst-hit region, has rushed to reconfigure hospitals to treat patients of a new virus and made thousands of new beds available, but officials said that may prove not to be enough. The Moscow City Health Department said the operational headquarters predict that despite the inclusion of an increasing number of state, federal and commercial clinics, a shortage of beds in redeveloped hospitals is possible in the next 2 to 3 weeks. New confirmed infections in the Russian capital shot up by 1,489 overnight, bringing its total number of registered cases to 13,002. The Turkish parliament Tuesday passed a law to allow for the release of tens of thousands of prisoners to ease overcrowding in jails and protect detainees from the coronavirus. Deputy Parliament Speaker Suriya Sadi Biljek said, supported by the ruling Justice and Development Party and Nationalist Movement parties, the bill was accepted with 279 votes for and 51 votes against. The bill covers about 100,000 people in prison for all crimes except those involving terrorism, drug offences, first-degree murder, and violence against women. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday extended a nationwide lockdown until May 3rd as the number of coronavirus cases crossed 10,000 despite a 3-week shutdown. However, he said there may be some easing in restrictions in people's movement after 1 week to help the poor daily wage earners and those working in the agriculture sector. Premier Modi, in an address on national television on the world's biggest shutdown, said the challenge was to stop the virus from spreading to new parts of the country. The lockdown will be eased only in areas which do not show any deterioration in the spread of the coronavirus. The Philippines introduced a more aggressive testing program for the coronavirus on Tuesday to locate as many as 15,000 unknown infections, despite having implemented some of Asia's strictest and earliest lockdown measures. Authorities have targeted several phases of ramped-up testing starting on Tuesday, with 8,000 people working at or admitted to Manila hospitals that were treating patients of COVID-19, a disease that has so far infected 4,932 people locally and killed 315. Though the Philippines has Southeast Asia's highest number of coronavirus infections and 37% of its known fatalities, the government believes its swift move to close borders and put half its population under home quarantine may have averted a far greater toll and a healthcare disaster. Australia and New Zealand on Tuesday brushed aside calls for an easing of tough restrictions on travel and public gatherings, despite their success in curbing the spread of COVID-19. The number of new coronavirus cases in the neighbouring nations has fallen dramatically in the last 2 weeks, raising hopes that difficult social distancing measures may be relaxed. But Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison said the country was still many weeks away from lifting any restrictions. New Zealand, a nation of 5 million, saw just 8 new cases on Tuesday for a total of 1,072, its lowest daily increase in more than 3 weeks. International public health leaders warned on Tuesday more than 100 million children could be at risk for measles because countries around the world are suspending national immunization programs in order to reduce the risk of coronavirus infection, according to the Measles and Rubella Initiative, a consortium whose members include UNICEF, the American Red Cross, the World Health Organization, the United Nations Foundation, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So far, 24 low- and middle-income countries, including Mexico, Nigeria, and Cambodia, have paused or postponed such programs. Unlike wealthier countries where parents typically make appointments to follow a routine vaccine schedule at clinics or private pediatric offices, these countries inoculate large numbers of infants and children in communal settings like marketplaces, schools, churches, and mosques. The forces of Libyan military strongman Khalifa Haftar rained rockets on the capital Tripoli early Tuesday after being ousted by government loyalists from a string of towns to its west. News reports said salvo after salvo of rockets caused loud explosions throughout the night. Several homes were hit around Mitia Air Base in the eastern suburbs, the capital's sole if intermittently functioning airport. There was no immediate word on any casualties. The UN-recognized Government of National Unity, which has been battling an offensive against the capital for just over a year, accused Haftar's forces of taking revenge against Tripoli's civilian population following their losses on Monday. North Korea fired several suspected cruise missiles off its east coast on Tuesday, South Korea said, the latest in a slew of weapons launches by the North, despite worries about a possible coronavirus outbreak in the country. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said in a statement that the projectiles presumed to be cruise missiles were fired from the northeastern Gangwon province on Tuesday morning before flying toward its eastern sea. It said South Korea's military was monitoring possible additional launches by North Korea and gave no further details, such as exactly how many projectiles were launched and what type of projectiles they were.